Wednesday saw the official launch of a new community bus in the West Wight, and the event attracted a visit from Norman Baker, Under-Secretary of State for Transport.
This is my first visit to the Isle of Wight. Is it? And there you are, proper passport. Very nice.
Riding on one of the buses which serve Freshwater, Yarmouth and Totland, Mr. Baker's first stop was Freshwater Memorial Hall, where a cheque was presented to the scheme by the local parish councils.
It's good, isn't it?
The bus then drove to West Wight Sports Centre, where Mr. Baker had news on the future funding of the community service.
I was delighted as Transport Minister last March to be able to confirm that I was handing out £10 million to support community transport across England, outside London, of which the Isle of Wight got £48,002. The Department of Transport and Finances are very suspicious. They look after every penny. And I'm also delighted to say that because of the success of that particular initiative, we've been able to find a further £10 million, which means another £48,002 for the Isle of Wight, which was announced in a statement I made to Parliament in December. And if the cheques don't yet arrive at the Isle of Wight Council, it will do quite shortly. I look forward to that being used to support the services already here, and indeed to further attract individuals onto community transport and bolster that particular initiative. So, anyway, I'm very happy to formally launch this, although it's been going anyway, and to wish you every success in your future endeavours.
So why has this service attracted so much attention?
I think it's very important when government takes decisions that we actually see the consequence of that on the ground. It's very easy to sit in a room in Whitehall or Westminster and decide what's going to happen with the country. What's important is to understand what the impact is in local areas. And the Isle of Wight's clearly a success story when it comes to community transport. It's a very good success story in terms of people coming together as a community, different funding streams, lots of volunteer drivers, all working, I think, for the benefit of the community, and that's something I think we should celebrate.
Well, it's super to see so many passengers. I heard today it was over 700 in 34 days or so, using buses which otherwise wouldn't have been here.
And do you think it's healthy to set up lots and lots of these community bus services all over the place rather than have someone at Southern Vectors deal with it?
I certainly do, yes. It's much better to get it from local decisions.
So how do these new voluntary buses tie in with the current Southern Vectors service?
We already run 8 other schemes with Isle of Wight Council directly ourselves. 5 of those at the moment are provided with volunteer drivers. So it's actually part of an already existing big network of community schemes, and this is one of those. And they're very much those schemes which are linking up all those rural parts of the island, or the parts that regular buses don't get to. So this is very much an integral part of a bigger scheme to get community transport meeting up for people's transport needs. It's really about finding the appropriate kind of service at an appropriate level. Big bus is very expensive to run, so we're really running those ones where it moves large numbers of people, moves them all day long, and this is about fitting in between. So it's about having smaller buses as we get into smaller areas, and it's also about understanding the economics of it, where frankly these sorts of rural services and the feeder services can't be supported financially, and so it's trying to get that mix, that balance, where the community provides its local service which feeds into the commercial regular service.
But are community buses simply doing Southern Vectors' job for them?
We're a commercial bus operator, so we don't get paid money to run services. The money we receive is the fares from the people who travel on our services. And these feeder services simply aren't sustainable in that model. And it's really saying where the community really has this feeling that it needs to provide something else that can't be provided, it's actually, to put it simply, getting off its backside and doing it itself. So frankly, particularly in current circumstances, these services just wouldn't run if they couldn't have a bit of help, and that helps really the volunteer drivers.
With the news of more funding for the service and a visit from the Department of Transport, the volunteers must surely see this as a positive start.
Very happy with today. Everything went as we would have wished it to, and we just have to now redouble our efforts. It gives us the enthusiasm, the encouragement to actually keep going and making it really work for the people out here.